Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some breaking news coming out here for you. So here we go. Once again, a couple days later, we've got another report coming out from Yemen with the Houthi rebels. So we've got reports of two more commercial ships that have been attacked. It's interesting because a lot of the reports that come out in mainstream media, or Western mainstream media, I should say, they state that they were just targeted. Okay, that all these ships, we've got two commercial ships and two U.S. destroyers that have been targeted, is what they say. But I'm also seeing lots of conflicting information on the internet as well that's stating that they were supposedly hit. Okay, so from what we know, according to the Houthi rebels, as far as I know, Yahya Saree, the brigadier general for the Houthi rebels, has stated that they struck the MSC Orion and commercial vessel Cyclades. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Cyclades. I have no idea. It's one of the two, or could be pronounced a different way. But also, we had two U.S. destroyers, the USS Philippine Sea and USS Laboon, that have been targeted as well. So these are all attacks that have happened within the last 24 to 48 hours. My last report on the Houthi rebels was on the 27th. Okay, and today is April 30th. 2024. So we've got a few things to go over here to try to figure out what's going on. But what we do know is that these attacks are increasing, okay? And I told you all this was going to happen. The closer that we got to the Rafah invasion, the Houthi rebels were going to pick their attacks up even more. And I think we're going to start to see this from Hezbollah. I think we're going to start to see this from other groups in Iraq and Syria. They may start targeting U.S. forces again, which we've been seeing that as well. They could start targeting Israel. And it's going to get very interesting what's going to happen here. There's just so much happening over in the Middle East right now. It's just absolutely on fire. And it's crazy what we're seeing here. So let's go over a few things here. First, we're going to go over a CENTCOM update. This is from U.S. Central Command, okay, from April 29th. This is as of yesterday. Okay, so it says here, between 10 a.m. and 5:20 p.m. Sanaa time on April 29th, Iranian-backed Houthi terrorists fired three anti-ship ballistic missiles, or ASBMs, and three UAVs from Yemen into the Red Sea towards the MV Cyclades. I'm going to call it Cyclades. I could be saying that wrong. A Malta-flagged Greece-owned vessel. Initial reports indicate there were no injuries and the vessel continued on its way. See, so again, they just say they fired them. Okay, they don't really say that it was hit, but I'm assuming that it was hit because they're indicating here that it continued on its way. Okay, so maybe I'm assuming it was hit, at least according to the Houthi rebels. I'm hearing that they stated they did hit it. But again, U.S. CENTCOM and along with like mainstream media, there's just a lot of conflicting evidence. So we're trying to figure that out. So earlier at 7:49 a.m., U.S. Central Command, U.S. CENTCOM forces successfully engaged and destroyed one Houthi-launched airborne unmanned aerial vehicle, that's a UAV, on a flight path towards USS Philippine Sea and USS Laboon in the Red Sea. There were no injuries or damages reported by the U.S., coalition, or merchant vessels. It was determined the UAV presented an imminent threat to U.S., coalition, and merchant vessels in the region. These actions are taken to protect freedom of navigation and make international waters safer and more secure for U.S. coalition and merchant vessels. So, the Cyclades, MV Cyclades, along with these two other U.S. destroyers, were attacked on the 29th, which was yesterday. Okay, and then we had reports coming out as of today that the Orion, the MSC Orion, was targeted as well. So again, not 100% sure whether these were hit or not. There's not obvious evidence coming out from what I've seen on the internet that shows that, at least with mainstream media. But I was seeing some reports on X stating the obvious that they were hit. Okay, so let's go over this as well. We've got another CENTCOM update. We're going to go over this also. This is from 2 days ago, from April 28th, since my last update was on the 27th. So let's get you guys caught up here. So April 28th. Between 1:48 and 2:27 a.m. Sanaa time, April 28th, U.S. Central Command successfully engaged 5 airborne unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAV drones, over the Red Sea. It was determined the UAVs presented an imminent threat to U.S., coalition, and merchant vessels in the region. These actions are taken to protect freedom of navigation and make international waters safer and more secure for U.S., coalition, and merchant vessels. So definitely we're starting to see an uptick here from even just my report on the 27th that I just did a few days ago. We had those attacks, actually a commercial vessel, excuse me, that was hit in the Red Sea. It was actually struck. Okay. So now we're hearing these two other ships were targeted, potentially struck as well, and then two more U.S. destroyers that were targeted by drones and potentially missiles too. So again, these attacks are starting to pick up, and I told you all this was going to happen. And the Houthi rebels apparently too are starting to target ships in the Indian Ocean. Okay, much further away from the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea. Okay, so that's what this article is talking about here. Houthis attack 4 ships in Indian Ocean and Red Sea. So there's going to be some more information, kind of what we were talking about, but a little bit more in depth, okay? Yemen's Houthis said on Tuesday they targeted the MSC Orion container ship in a drone attack in the Indian Ocean as part of their ongoing campaign against international shipping in solidarity with Palestinians against Israel's military actions in Gaza. So the MSC Orion was targeted here, it says, in the Indian Ocean, okay? That's much further out. That's just probably more off the coast of Oman, not so much close to Yemen. And they were using drones that could travel, I don't know, something like 300 kilometers and targeting ships over there, which they supposedly targeted this MSC Orion. It was sailing between the ports in Sines, Portugal, and Salalah, Oman, according to LSEG data. Reuters found conflicting information about the registered owner, of the MSC Orion. According to LSEG and other data providers, the ship is owned by Zodiac Maritime, which is partly owned by Israeli businessman Eyal Ofer. So that would make sense why they would target this ship, okay? If it was owned by an Israeli businessman, that's would be considered to them Israel, owned by Israel, so they would obviously target that ship because the Houthis have said they would target any ships that are Israeli, US, or UK owned for sure. I don't know about other countries, but for sure those 3 countries are being targeted right now if any ships are affiliated with them. A spokesman for the public relations firm representing Zodiac Maritime, however, said the company has never owned the vessel. Iran-aligned Houthi militants have launched repeated drone and missile strikes in the Red Sea, Bab al-Mandeb Strait, and the Gulf of Aden since November, forcing shippers to reroute cargo to longer and more expensive journeys around southern Africa and stoking fears that the Israel-Hamas war could spread and destabilize the Middle East. In March, the group's leader said the group was expanding its attack area to prevent Israeli-linked ships from passing through the Indian Ocean towards the Cape of Good Hope. So just like I was mentioning there, they attacked that ship in the Indian Ocean. This is when they announced that back in March. I did a video on that as well, talking about that they were going to be expanding their operation, targeting ships in the Indian Ocean, and also targeting ships going around the Cape of Good Hope, like it mentions here, so around the Horn of Africa, on the southern portion of Africa. The Iran-affiliated group targeted the Cyclades commercial vessel, as well as 2 U.S. destroyers in the Red Sea, a spokesman said in a televised address early on Tuesday. British maritime security firm Ombre reported earlier that the Malta flag container ship on Monday said it was targeted by 3 missiles while en route to Djibouti to the Saudi city of Jeddah. The Houthis said the Cyclades was on that route when they attacked the vessel. Ombre assessed the ship was targeted due to its listed operators' ongoing trade with Israel, it said in an advisory note. The United States and Britain have carried out strikes against Houthi targets in retaliation for their attacks on vessels. So we haven't seen a major strike in a while. I want to say in a few months from the U.S. and UK. They were doing lots of bombing runs inside of Yemen. I think it was in like February and March. I think even in January. It was like going on for 2 or 3 months. And they were doing this maybe 3 to 4 times throughout that time period. And we haven't seen that happen. I don't know if we're going to see that happen again soon. We just might, because these attacks are starting to pick up again. I don't know if maybe mainstream media just wasn't covering this too much throughout the last few months, but if they weren't, they're covering it now. And we know that these attacks are starting to happen and pick up again. So like I said, these attacks are definitely increasing, and I think a lot of this has to do with the upcoming invasion of Rafah, in which Hamas is potentially going to be eliminated, okay? That's at least Israel's goal, is to move into Rafah. I've done multiple videos talking about that. If you want to know more about that, hop on over to my page. check out my other videos, or you can also subscribe to the channel as well for updates whenever we put out new content, which we do several videos every day. So that's going to be it for this update, though, guys. I appreciate you hanging out with me here today. If you got something out of that this update, please smash that like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below again and hit that notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Thanks again so much for tuning in. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.